When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Absolutely, unequivocally, yes, is the answer. Now, here is the host of The Long Bearded Guy, the Chief Catalyst, Strategist Guide at Jewel International, Gordon D. Melville.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Long Bearded Guy. That's Gordon D. Melville. That's me on Inspired Choices Network. And today we're talking about maximizing impact with precision communication. But first, I want to welcome you to Red Fridays, R-E-D, Red. That's remember everyone deployed. They're willing to stand on a wall for us and protect us and let us do the things we want to do. And so, you know what, mad respect for that, huge respect for that. And I want to make sure I show appreciation. So thank you so much for you all doing that today. And during this season, and you're separated from your families and whatnot, my heart goes out to you and holding space. So thank you so much for that. All right. So welcome to everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You've got about 30 seconds to find yourself a journal or a pad or something to write with and something to write on. You're going to want it. There's a whole whack of information today. So I want to get into this as quick as I can, but I want to welcome everybody. I know there's people watching from literally all over the world, and there's people at work, there's people at home, there's people in their cars, there's people all over the place. And so thank you so much for being here. You're spending some of your finite resource of time with me, and I really appreciate that. So one of the things we're going to talk about in terms of communication today, Tony Robbins said, communication is power. Those who have mastered its effective use can change their own experience of the world and the world's experience of them. All behavior and feelings find their origin roots in some form of communication. We're going to delve into that today, and we're going to talk about precision because we want to maximize the impact, but we're going to talk about precision communication. How do we talk to people? What are some good ways to have communication so that we make the impact we're wanting to make? If you've never heard or listened to me before, I want to welcome you. Thank you for finding me. And if you've listened to me before, then you know what to expect. But I'm on a mission to positively change the lives of every man I meet typically by raising their EQ, their emotional quotient. Because once that happens, their lives get better, their relationships get better, their communication gets better, oddly enough, or not so oddly enough. So I'm also the founder and CEO at Jewel International. I'm a legacy and resiliency strategist, multi-award-winning international best-selling author multiple times. I am an international keynote speaker, and I'm an elite performance catalyst for a finalist from last season, local pro basketball team. And I teach the 7 levels of emotional intelligence for men. I serve entrepreneurial men and pro athletes, or people that want to be, men that want to be. So that's where I'm aiming at. Now, we don't have the market cornered on needing to improve our emotional quotient. So this will go out to everybody. Everybody plug in, because we can all learn some stuff about the way we communicate. How do we communicate more effectively? So I'm excited to have you find me on Google TV and Apple TV and Spotify and Amazon Fire and iHeartRadio, anywhere that you would listen to us. It's a free download, the Inspired Choices Network app at your app store, wherever that happens to be, whatever kind of a phone you're using, wherever you find that kind of thing. On a smart TV, put in Inspired Choices Network, and it'll pop it up just like you're finding Netflix. And so I find my happy beard in there. I'm not the only one. There's a bunch of really good hosts in there. So plug into them all. Plug into the ones that make sense to you, but absolutely. And you know what? If this resonates with you, share my stuff, right? We're looking to, I'm excited to have you, and would ask you to like, love, share, subscribe, do all the things, ring the bell so you don't miss any, all those fun things, partly because it helps the algorithm and partly because it helps pay for the shows. So if you can help me with that, share this with people. If you hear stuff that you go, wow, you know what? I know some people that need to hear this. Reach out to them, let them know, hey, you know what? Plug into this guy. You need to hear what Gordon's got to say. And I would appreciate that. That engagement factor isn't just the like, love, share, and subscribe. The engagement factor I'm looking for, even more importantly, is the emails that come back that say, Gord, this was awesome, or Gord, you're full of shit, or Gord, this is what, or I've got questions about this or the other. That's the engagement I'm looking for. I want that very badly. And so we're putting this out. I'm putting this out week after week after week. to make that happen. And so we're here. It doesn't cost anything to do any of this for you. So plug in. People go, oh, God, I can't afford a course. I can't afford a book. Great. You know what? This is free. Plug in, at least plug into the free stuff. At least do that. So, all right. So as we get going here, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. As we start, maximizing impact with precision communication, I want a couple quick quotes here. Robert Gately said, effective communication starts with listening. Effective communication starts with listening. Tony Robbins, George Bernard Shaw, the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. Oh, ouch. Right? We thought we communicated. We thought we told them, and we may have said the words, but maybe we didn't actually communicate in a way that they picked it up. So, single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. Be careful with that. Peter Drucker said, the most important thing in communication is hearing what isn't said. What is not said is the most important thing in communication. George S. Patton, the general, say what you mean and mean what you say. That's huge, huge. Say what you mean. We're all trying to hedge. No, say what you mean, but mean what you say. You need to be able to be impeccable with your word, is from the 4 agreements. Be impeccable with your word. Do exactly, don't promise something you're not going to do, right? Live up to your word. Epictetus is a Stoic philosopher. He said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak. My mom, I could put her in here with a quote that said, hey, you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them in that proportion. Stephen King, the author, the horror author, he says the most important things are the hardest to say. Isn't that the truth? Right? The most important things we need to say a lot of times can be very difficult. Trying to have people say, hey, you know what, I love you. That's a hard thing for some people to say to other people. It's a hard thing for people to say. And Jeff Daly said, 2 monologues do not make a dialogue. 2 monologues do not make a dialogue. 2 people just talking doesn't make a conversation, doesn't make both sides. So as we get into this today, we're going to talk about precision communication, because if we understand how we're communicating and we can improve our communication, we will maximize our impact. We will be able to say more with less, say more words with more meaning with less words, right? So in this first piece, we want to talk about a bunch of different things right here. Again, you might want to write this stuff down. I'm going to shotgun this at you fairly quick today, but I want you to remember it. And if you don't write it down, you won't remember. So you can tell me, oh, remember, that's BS, you won't remember. Most people can't retain more than 10% of what they hear, even if they take good notes. So you know what? Write it down, or go back and listen to it again. If I go through it too fast, go back and listen to it again to pick them all up. So there's 4 types of communication, basic communication: verbal, nonverbal, visual, and written. Verbal, nonverbal, visual, and written are the 4 basic types of communication. Okay. There's 7 communication styles. And I was intrigued by this in terms of some of these. I'm like, well, that's interesting that they show up that way. 7 communication styles: assertive, aggressive, passive aggressive, submissive, manipulative, direct, and indirect. They say are the 7 styles of communication. And a bunch of those could be identified as a negative way to communicate, right? Manipulative, we don't want to be manipulative in the way that we talk. We don't want to be, there's a place and a time for assertive. There's a place and a time for aggressive. Passive aggressive, a lot of times, is a negative thing, not a positive thing. But that's the 7 communication styles: assertive, aggressive, passive aggressive, submissive, manipulative, direct, and indirect. There's 5 C's, the letter C, of effective communication: clarify, conciseness, consistency, connection, and confidence. Clarify, conciseness, consistency, connection, and confidence are the 5 C's of effective communication. If you're clarifying, you've got a clear message, the way you're talking is clear, you're concise, again, less words, more content, more meaning. Consistency over and over and over and over and over and over and over, right? Day after day after day after day after day. Consistency. Connection. Say stuff that actually connects with people. Just talking doesn't make a difference. We have to be saying something that's going to connect to somebody, or understanding what our audience is, knowing who the audience is in front of us. And then confidence. If we can do it with some confidence, if we're not sure and we heave back and we're like, oh, you know what? We don't sound like we're confident about the topic. People aren't going to listen to that. They're just not. So confidence, that's the 5 C's of effective communication. 2 main channels of communication. There's 2. Formal, that's typically work related. So, you know, where it's, that could be a business thing, that could be a church thing, that could be a charity thing where it's an organization, right? That's considered formal communication. And then obviously the other one is informal communication, which is basically everything else, right? Just talking to your family or your friends or your colleagues or wherever you're talking. That's informal communication. Okay. So that's very quick. I'm going to recap them for you just because I said them very, very quickly, but I want you to get them. 4 types of communication: verbal, nonverbal, visual, and written. 7 communication styles. So the way and the way it's being written: assertive, aggressive, passive aggressive, submissive, manipulative, direct, and indirect. The 5 C's of effective communication: clarify, conciseness, consistency, connection, and competence. All of those things will give us a much, much better impact. We'll maximize our impact when we do these things and use it this way to have precision communication. And one of the things I want you to think about today as we're talking about all these things is that most of what we're going to talk about today is face-to-face communication. When you're standing belly to belly with the person, what does communication look like? But I want you to think, and I want you to write down, because I want it to be in the front of your mind while you're listening to this today. This is face-to-face communication. How much of this is not there when we text somebody or we email somebody or we leave them a voicemail or a voice note, where we're not actually live face-to-face in real time with the person? I want you to think about that. Keep that in the front of your mind as we're talking about these things today, because you'll have some, I'm hoping you'll have some big aha moments in terms of, crap, that's why I can't communicate or struggle to communicate on a text or on an email. That's why that went sideways, because there was some pieces missing that are there when I talk to people face to face that aren't there on an email. And you'll be shocked, the numbers. If you've heard them before, excellent. Most people haven't. What makes up a conversation? What makes up? So we're gonna talk about face-to-face statistics and why they're like that, so that we understand. Awareness is huge. You hear me talk about it all the time. I can't fix it until I'm aware that it's there. I have to know that it's there. So I want to give you awareness today. Here are some statistics about why things are the way they are in terms of our communication. And I want to help you maximize your impact with the people in your life, in every area of your life, by using precision communication, being aware of the tools. Okay. I have to take a quick break. I've got 2 quick shout outs to do here. Jose Escobar is the founder and CEO of the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf. Check out the Connected Leaders Academy membership to take your business to the next level. This is the perfect tribe to learn, grow, and connect like never before. The Connected Leaders Academy tribe brings together some of the highest level entrepreneurs from all over the world. And to set up your free virtual coffee with Jose Escobar today, you can reach him at the entrepreneurs with an S, bookshelf.com. The entrepreneursbookshelf.com. It's an incredible group, part of it myself. It's a really, really, really good group. And if you want to raise your levels, reach out to Jose. The other shout out I want to do real quick is for Austin J. Haynes. And we're going to talk as we go to break here. And if you've heard me before, you've heard me say, we're going to pause and breathe as we go to a break, right? So, but it's brought to you by Austin J. Haynes. Expand the pause and breathe, the concept in your mind by connecting with mindful poet and mentor Austin James Haynes to spark your midlife reinvention in an unexpected way. Austin's journey from a college dropout to a Fortune 500 company to a poet will inspire you. Go to austinjhaynes.com for his latest podcast, Recorded in Nature. They're amazing. If you get a chance to plug into that. And I've got a special announcement at the next break about something he's got coming up. So very, very excited to share that with you. But as we go to break here, don't forget to pause and breathe. Pause and breathe. Why? Because it's grounding you. It's allowing you to process what you've just heard and to cleanse your palate like sorbet between courses. It's going to help you prepare for the next segment. So as we go, don't forget to pause and breathe. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about face-to-face stats and why. When we come back, you're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville, on Inspired Choices Network. I'll be right back.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the long-bearded guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey everybody, welcome back. You're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville on Inspired Choices Network. And today we're talking about maximizing our impact with precision communication. And I have my special mug. Thank you from that person. I've used it on all my shows. I hope you're hydrating and looking after yourself during the holiday season. So, but as we're continuing here, we're talking about maximizing impact. Hydration, lots of times I have to wet my whistle once in a while. When we're talking to be able to communicate, I got to have my whistle has to be wet. So, I hope you're hydrating with something, lots and lots and lots of water. So, all right. So face-to-face statistics in terms of precision communication, what actually makes up a conversation? Because what are the parts, right? We think of with the words we're using, like come up with a few things, throw them in the chat. If you're listening to me, throw them in the chat. What do you think are the pieces of a conversation face-to-face, not on the phone, not on even on Zoom, on face-to-face, literally belly to belly, talking at the church or at your function or at your community thing or at your friend's house, at your family's house, whatever it is, face-to-face. What are the pieces of a conversation? because there's some that, and I've read whole bunches of stuff on this. There are people that put lots of different things in. I'm going to give you the what I think are the three basic ones. There's a fourth piece that kind of blends into this a little bit, but we're going to start with face-to-face. And I apologize, I'm going to read this because I wrote it and then went, you know what, I don't want to mess it up. Communication is a multifaceted process that relies on verbal hiccups, excuse me, and nonverbal components to convey meaning effectively. It is widely regarded as the most impactful form of communication due to its ability to foster connection, trust, and understanding. Face to face. Okay. Here's an analysis of the key components of face-to-face conversations, their relative contributions to the communication, and an explanation of their significance. Consider this too in light of other frames of communication and why we might have challenges. So here it is again. Think of these things in terms of what's coming, right? Think of this in terms of, yes, face-to-face, these things are true, and the percentages of impact and whatnot. These statistics are face-to-face. What happens to the numbers depending on where we're doing that communication? Because we're sending a lot of emails, we send lots of texts, and lots of relationships explode and blow up all over the place because we weren't aware of the pieces of a conversation, and somebody took something out of context, or somebody took something the wrong way because we left punctuation out, or we left, there's pieces that are not there in a text or an email. So you know what? This is an incredible, powerful way. Write these down. Number one is verbal communication. That's the actual words we're using when we're talking, the literal words, okay? The actual words spoken. What do you think, as a percentage of 100%, the whole conversation at 100%, what percentage of that conversation is impacted or holds on verbal? How much of an impact do the words we're actually saying make on the total conversation, effectiveness of the conversation? What do you think? Throw it in the chat what you think the number is. Whatever you think it is. And there's lots of different numbers, and depending on where we look, we're going to get different stats. But the one I had learned years ago, and the one that I went and investigated to make sure it was current for today, was approximately 7%. Less than 10% of a conversation is the actual words we use. The actual words we use are less than 10% of the conversation. Think of it in terms of other forms of communication. Keep that in mind. I'm not going to connect those dots for you. I want you to connect those dots yourself. Okay? We can say words in different tones and emphasis to have significantly different meanings. How are you? I'm fine. How are you? I'm fine. Same words. That doesn't come across in a text or an email. So whoever's reading that is reading it with their own inflection, their own tonality, right? They don't know that you're being sarcastic. They don't know that you're being funny. They don't know that because they can't hear that. Live, they hear that. Face to face, they can see that and hear that. Less than 10% is verbal. The next one is the tone of voice that we use, right? We just said the tone that we say, hey, I'm fine. The tone we're using is the next one, 38%. Just under 40% of the conversation we're having face to face is the tone. Vocal elements that accompany speech, including pitch, volume, speed, intonation, and pauses. Volume, if I talk softly, you're getting a different feeling and vibration. Then if I talk louder and it's more with more confidence or more you're getting a completely, I can say the same words, but you're getting a different feeling around that. You're getting a different message around that when I use a different volume. Speed, if I'm talking really fast, you're going to hear a different thing, right? When we hear the legalese at the end of a commercial, you know, symptoms, side effects may include blah, 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 right? We hear a different thing, right? We're hearing it a certain way. We hear that in a certain tone. And pausing in intonation. Tone conveys emotions and attitude that words alone just can't. Tone conveys emotion and attitudes that words alone just can't. It helps the listener interpret the intent. At the end of no, I can see her, Whoopi Goldberg. She was in a habit, in a nun's thing. They were hiding her from the mob. Anyway, at the end, her boyfriend, he's a mob guy, but he gives her a hard time. And she says, bless you, right? The words, standing in front of the Mother Superior, the words were what they were supposed to be, considering she was wearing a habit. But the tone she used had a completely different message. That's tone. The interpret intent, right? Helps the listener interpret intent, whether it's the speaker is being sincere, sarcastic, excited, or upset. A calm tone during a heated discussion can de-escalate, while a loud or harsh tone might provoke defensiveness or anxiety. Being aware, again, that's face-to-face. That's not coming across. Sister Act, thank you so much. I appreciate that. My memory is good. It's just short and it's getting old. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right. So the tonality, if I'm texting with somebody in an argument or some kind of a debate of some kind, they can't hear my tone. So they're taking on face value what the words are. And if less than 10% of the words actually make an impact, then guess what? I suck when I text. We suck when we email. We wonder why it causes problems. That's why. The third one, and again, if you're adding this up, 7%, 38%, what does that leave? 55% of a face-to-face is nonverbal communication. Holy crap. What does that mean? That means more than 50% of a conversation includes body language, facial expression, gestures, posture, eye contact, and physical proximity. Do you have any of that on a text or on an email? You can't see me, but I'm shaking my head no. We don't have any of those things. None. That means 55% of our effectiveness gone. More than half is gone. Men typically have a negative tone to their voice, so that 38% doesn't work unless I'm standing right in front of them. So I've lost, what is that? 55%, 38%. 93% of my effectiveness is gone because I didn't say the right thing, didn't have the right words, I don't have the right tone, and I don't have nonverbal communication. They can't see me. It's huge. Nonverbal signals provide context and emotional subtext to the spoken word, conveying feelings such as confidence, empathy, or discomfort. So a smile paired with direct eye contact conveys warmth and engagement, while crossed arms or lack of eye contact may, not always, because crossed arms doesn't necessarily mean that, but together may mean or indicate defensiveness or disinterest. And they may perceive that anyway, whether that was your intention or not. Be careful. Nonverbal communication is more than half. And we wonder why we're having challenges with texting and emails and whatever. Face-to-face, 55%. Do you even pay attention to that? Do you even pay attention to how you're standing or your proximity to that person, how your feet are positioned? We can do scientific stuff I can share lots of stuff about where the positioning of your feet will either include or exclude the person you're talking to or the group you're talking with. And it's subtle. They're not putting their finger on it. We used to do a thing. Well, I was a little bit of a rabble rouser. So in high school, we would walk across a crosswalk. When you walk, you swing the opposite arm to the leg that's going forward, right? Well, we would walk across swinging the same arm to the same leg. And people would look at us kind of cockeyed because they would know something's not quite right, but I can't put my finger on it. There's things happening in our communication that they can't put their finger on it. You can't put your finger on it, but something's not quite right. And we don't know what it is. We don't know why. And I come back to awareness around the way we're doing these things. The fourth, that makes 100%. The fourth piece that's going to impact is contextual factors. And I got to take a break, but the environment and situational context in which the conversation takes place, contribution, explanation, emotional connection, immediate feedback, persuasion power, stronger relationships, and enhanced attention are all contextual factors that are going to make an impact. They're going to make an impact on your conversation. Are you aware of that? You pay attention to that? Write these things down. You're not going to remember. I have to take another quick break. So another quick shout out for Jose Escobar. Check out the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf to learn more about the morning and evening routine mastery program that's changing people's lives. This program will help you install systems on the bookends of your day to maximize your morning and evening routine. Set up your free strategy session with Jose Escobar today, and you can reach him at theentrepreneursbookshelf.com. Again, that's theentrepreneursbookshelf.com. And if you're not doing something on the beginning and end of your day, morning and evening routine, as a routine, day after day after day after day, you're not maximizing. You're fooling yourself. The other shout out I want to do is for Austin J. Haynes. And expand the pause and breathe right as we go to break. We're talking about it every time. Pause and breathe. Expand the pause and breathe experience by connecting with mindful poet and mentor Austin James Haynes to spark your midlife reinvention in an unexpected way. Go to austinjhaynes.com for his latest podcast recorded in nature. And right now, reach out to him, the austinjhaynes.com. He's doing the 12 days of pause and breathe challenge between December 16 and 27. And it's a micro dose of self-care during the holidays to keep you rooted in your peaceful center when everything's going around, right? Go to austinjhaynes.com for details. It's a powerful, powerful thing, especially during the holidays when we can be frantic and frazzled and we're running all over the place. Pausing and breathing and learning how to do that and how to implement that, where to find meditation, led meditation, regular meditation, reach out to austinjhaynes.com and register for that December 16 to 27, 12 days of pause and breathe challenge. As we go to break, don't forget to pause and breathe. Don't forget to hydrate. And I will be right back. We're going to talk about some strategies for effective business life communication. I want to give you some tools. We're going to go that in the next segment. So don't go anywhere. You're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. That's me on Inspired Choices Network. Don't go anywhere.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
The Connected Leaders Academy is the #1 fastest growing networking community for entrepreneurs. CLA assembles high-level leaders, titans of industry, and business owners under one roof. If you're an entrepreneur looking to grow personally, professionally, scale your influence, develop skills, and expand your network exponentially, the CLA is where you need to be. Want on to more podcasts and shows? Speak on more stages? Sell more books, products, and services? Get more leads, referrals, acquire new clients, develop lifelong friendships, and more? Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. Contact Jose Escobar on Facebook or check out www.claglobalsummit.com for more information.
This is the Long Bearded Guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Everybody, welcome back. Thank you for sticking with me with Gordon D. Melville, the Long Bearded Guy on Inspired Choices Network. And today we're talking about maximizing our impact with precision communication. We can only have maximum impact when we communicate correctly. And in this section, I want to talk a little bit about, we've talked about types of communication, styles of communication, the 5 C's, 2 channels of, we've talked about face-to-face, the scary statistics around that and why it's like that and what to think about when we're communicating and why sometimes we suck when we're communicating. There's a whole whack of information there. If you didn't catch it and didn't get it all, go back and listen to it because it's important to know as we move forward. In this segment, we want to talk about strategies for effective business or life communication. What are some ways, what are some strategies that can help move you forward? What are some ways that we can equip ourselves, be aware of, and then equip ourselves to have effective or more effective communication, both in business and in our regular life? We want to make sure we have these things. So there's a whole bunch of them here. So again, we're going to go through them fairly quickly. If you need to go back, okay? Number 1 is be clear and concise. So again, that's 4 agreements, right? Be impeccable with your word. Be clear. Again, concise just means less words, more information, more meaning to what you're saying with less words. Clear and concise. Number 2 is choose the right communication channel. This is going to go right to the heart of what we've been talking about. If you're trying to get a specific message across that might inflame on the other side or maybe taken the wrong way, then don't use a text or an email or a phone call, even a phone message. Face to face. Even if Zoom is better than a text or an email. If it's really important, I'm old school. I hear all the time some of these guys, I'm talking to them with my pro athletes and some of my clients, and they're like, Gord, I broke up with my girlfriend. I separated from my wife in a text. I'm like, are you out of your mind? What's wrong with you? In a text? It's not, they're not worth spending, they're not worth having the integrity of being able to look them in the face. Come on. Choose the right communication channel. If you're just saying hi, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Send a text, send an email. If you had something important, don't do it in a text. Try not to do. I mean, sometimes it's escapable that you have to do it in an email because there's no way to get to a face-to-face with them. Okay, I get it. There's time stuff that has to. That's an exception to the rule. Don't use that as the exception as the primary piece. Because it's not an exception anymore. 3, listen to understand first, not to reply. Listen to understand. A lot of us, we hear stuff where, oh, hey, I can talk about this. Hey, I can talk about that. Oh, that triggers this in my mind. I remember this. Hey, I can say this. And now I'm thinking about what I want to say. I'm trying to remember that instead of listening to what they're talking about. Listen to understand them. You may not agree. That's okay. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. That's fine. But at least understand before you open your pie hole and say something. And what you're hearing is passion. It's not anger. Okay. It's me wanting, we struggle all over the place and we step into it everywhere, not necessarily because our intention is bad, but because we don't know any better. Pick this stuff up, use it, write it down, practice. Be aware of what you're saying to people and how you're saying it. Master, this is number 4, master nonverbal communication. Pay attention. What's your body saying? What's your face saying? What are the micro expressions saying? What's your emotion saying? What are your hands doing? What's your body doing? Are you slouched? Are you standing up? What are your feet doing? Are you incorporating them or including the person in front of you, or they're off to the side? Or pay attention, master. Don't just know it, master. That only comes with practice. Practice, master nonverbal communication. It's 55% of the conversation. And if you don't have it because you're in a text or an email, you better have the right words. 5 is adapt communication to your audience. I can talk about something called bank. If you want to know about bank, BANK, reach out to me. You can reach me at thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. And if you're not using something like bank, you're missing out on 75% of your effectiveness. When you're talking to a person, you're talking to a crowd, you're trying to do sales, you're missing 75% because you don't know bank. Reach out to me, thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com, and I'll share it with you. But know your audience. Know your audience, right? I can cuss on occasion. Do I do that on my show? No. Why? Because I'm knowing my audience. Now, I'm not a sailor in terms of swearing all over. That's not who I am. But I'm very careful. I know my audience. That's going to turn some of the people off. And so I don't do it. Know the audience you're talking to before you start to spew all over the place. 6 is encourage two-way dialogue. It's not a monologue. It's not, hey, shut up and listen to me talk. I want to hear my voice. It's encourage a two-way. Hey, I want this to be back and forth. Even on here, I'm recording this live. If you're picking this up or hearing this in a replay, come in and put a comment in. And Gord, I'm hearing this in a replay. And by the way, I've got a question about this. Gord, I have a question about bank. Gord, I think you're full of shit, and that stuff is not right. I think words play a bit. I'm a big boy. I've got thick skin. I can handle being told, no, that's not right, or I don't like that, or that's not how I think. No problem. We're all entitled to our own opinion. But I want that engagement. I want that reach out and talk to me. That's a two-way dialogue. Use collaboration tools to stay organized. Follow people. Don't just let it go into the ether. Track it. Use collaborative tools to stay organized. Embrace constructive feedback. Encourage feedback. That's how we get better. What am I not doing right? Tell me, Gord, this is not right, or I don't like this, or I don't like this is good, or this is great, this is not so good, this needs some work. thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Don't shy away from face-to-face communication. Because sometimes, again, one of those quotes was about it's hard. Sometimes the things that need to get said are the hardest things to say, are the hardest conversations to have, but we need to have them that way. Don't shy away from face-to-face communication. Address and resolve conflicts promptly. Don't let it sit and fester. Deal with it head on. Boom, go. If you need to step away for a second, hey, you know what? We're getting way amped up. Can we take 5 minutes? Just put a pin in it for 5 minutes. Can I come back in 5 minutes? Let's talk about it some more. That will help. We want to get it resolved, but sometimes separating for just a few minutes, even just a few minutes, will help the temperature come down. Stay consistent and transparent. Don't be all over the place. Maintain consistent eye contact. And that shows attentiveness, and it builds trust with the person you're talking to. Use open body communication and body language to appear approachable and engaged. Match your tone with the emotion content of your message for clarity. Because if you're saying something that's not matched up with the tone or the emotion of it, it's going to lose something in the translation. Be mindful of cultural differences in nonverbal communication styles. Some people don't want to be touched. They don't want to shake hands. And we get our nose all out of joint. Well, they wouldn't shake my hand even. Well, maybe that's not part of their culture. Be aware. Practice active listening by nodding and using affirming gestures. Use facial expressions intentionally to reinforce your message. And control your posture to project confidence in a professional setting. There's so many bits and pieces of this. So many bits and pieces of this. Are you aware? Not aware? Can you hold it together? Do people understand with clarity when you talk? Because if they don't, you need to evaluate. You need to evaluate. Shockingly, I need to take another break. I want to do another quick shout out for Austin J. Haynes, because we talk about pause and breathe as we go to a break. We want to pause and breathe. We want to ground ourselves and be present. And there's some ways to do that. Austin can teach you some ways to pause and breathe. There's some breathing exercises you can do that can calm you down. There's some breathing exercises you can do that can lift you up and help you focus, super focus, and be energized. But that takes some concentration, and it takes some training. It takes somebody to teach you how to do that. So expand your pause and breathe experience by connecting with mindful poet and mentor Austin James Haynes to spark your midlife reinvention in an unexpected way. Go to austinjhaynes.com for his latest podcast, Recorded in Nature. And right now, reach out to him at austinjhaynes.com for the 12 Days of Pause and Breathe Challenge that goes from the 16th to the 27th of December over the holiday season. A micro dose of self-care during the holidays to keep you rooted in your peaceful center. We all need to be rooted in our peaceful center, especially during the holiday season. So go to austinjhaynes.com for more details of that. Highly, highly recommend plugging into Austin. He's a brilliant human being, wonderful, wonderful friend. I love him very, very much. Wonderful brother. And you know what? His programs, I'll tune in and just listen to his regular stuff because it's recorded in nature. So he teaches you how to do the pause and breathe thing, but he also will give you tools and strategies and techniques and some stuff to be able to use that you can use whether you're listening to him or not. Plug into him. Pause and breathe as we go to a break here. Don't go anywhere. We're going to wrap and have a call to action I think is very impactful. Don't go anywhere. You're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville, on Inspired Choices Network. Be right back.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the long-bearded guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Absolutely, you can. Welcome back. You're with Gordon D. Melville, the long-bearded guy on Inspired Choices Network. And yes, you can reach out to me anytime, the long-bearded guy. I encourage you to do that. Matter of fact, I dare you to do that. I double dog dare you to do that. Reach out to me and let me know, hey, this is good. This is impactful. Share this with other people that need to hear this. Please share this with other people, men, women, children, share. If this resonates with you, this is information we all need. This isn't well, just the business people or just salespeople or no, we all communicate with each other. That's the part of that human condition. We're tied together. we need each other. So we want to be able to communicate in a highly effective way with precision communication. We want to be impeccable with our word and with our body language and with our tone to understand what's going on, right? We want to listen to understand before we listen to reply, before we want to reply. Okay. We've talked about so many things today, but we're running out of time. So I want to do the quick call to action. I want you to think about flipping your script. Listen twice as much as you speak. Excuse me. Right? Like my mom said, you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them in that proportion. So the action step and the call to action I'm suggesting today, I'm giving you today, write it down. In your next conversation, focus entirely on listening without interrupting. Listen to understand. After they finish speaking, paraphrase what they said, what you think you heard, to confirm that you understand what they said. Listen twice as much as you speak. In your next conversations, and think about it over the next few conversations, focus entirely on listening without interrupting. Don't interrupt them. Let them talk. After they finish speaking, before you say anything else, paraphrase what they said to confirm you understood what they are saying, right? That quote about, part of the problem is that we think we've communicated. We think we've communicated. We think we understand what they're saying. Paraphrase back to them what you heard. That will confirm to them, yes, they heard what I said. Or, you know what, they misinterpreted what I said. But you have clarity just like that. You put the skunk on the porch right now, saying I heard in Texas. But the point is getting the stinky stuff, the skunk, putting the whatever, there's going to be a challenge, put it on the porch right away, at the front of the house, right at the front door, before you get into everything. Skunk on the porch. Make sure you heard them correctly. You may not have heard them correctly, and you're about to give them a response that has nothing to do or has no context in what they just said, because you didn't understand it properly, because you didn't hear it, because you're thinking about what you wanted to say, or you misinterpreted just because there was in the translation of it all, it lost something in that translation. It missed the tone. It missed the context. It missed something, and we took it wrong. So in your next conversation, focus entirely on listening without interrupting. After they finish speaking, paraphrase what they said to confirm understanding. Next week, Friday, December 20th, and today's Friday the 13th, so it's a great day to be talking about how we communicate properly. Next week, Friday, December 20th, same happy beard, same wonderful station. Come and find us. Then with our topic next week is going to be a special guest, and I'm so excited to have this person here. Incredible human being. I'm very excited to have him here next week. So tune in to find out who that is, and we'll share that with you. It will be all over everywhere. So watch for that. Watch for those promotions soon. That's next Friday the 20th, same noon, same station. Okay. As we leave today, I hope this was impactful. I hope it was helpful. I hope it's stuff you can use. Please, if it's not usable, it doesn't mean anything. And if you want help or want to go deeper, reach out to me, thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. I've got programs, I've got group stuff, I've got one-on-one stuff, I've got there's a thing coming I'm so excited about that we can plug into, guys can plug into in a safe, non-judgment zone. It's coming. I'm so excited. I want to tell you that I shouldn't do it. Not yet, not ready yet, but it's coming. It's coming. So watch for that. Other ways to plug in, reach out with questions, reach out with comments. Please, as we go into this week, be courageous, be unapologetically you. Make it, you have the ability to do that. Make it another great week. Live out you abundantly and with intention. Know that I love you. Massive hugs. See you next week. And my question I always leave you with is, who are you being? Who you be? How are you showing up in the world for yourself and for the people around you, especially at Christmas time? We'll see you next week. Thank you
for tuning into the Long Bearded Guy Show. You are appreciated and loved. Gordon D. Melville returns Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on the InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, make it another great week, leading with love, powerfully designing, crafting, and living out your positively impactful legacy life you were created for. Big hugs!